Several weeks ago, Aaron Sparrow and I talked about the HasLab failure when it came to the Ghost Rider character, and I thought maybe, Aaron, you were going to be the most detested man in Thinking Critical history. Thankfully, Josh has taken your place because he likes Wakanda Forever so much, but people think you were a toy elitist. Is that true?
I know. I heard that I'm a Hasbro shill. So that was kind of fun. Just because I was like, I wanted the thing, and I was okay with paying for it. And then people were like really mad and saying like, we taught Hasbro a lesson. Yeah, you taught Hasbro not to make any vehicles, I guess. Good for you. But people were saying that I was bitter about it not funding, and I was like, I just took that money and went and spent it on other toys. I'm fine.
Well, Hasbro's not fine. It's actually in quite a bit of trouble right now in terms of their stock price. It is around the $65 mark and has not been this low in over 5 years' time. Just to give you an idea of how big a deal this may be for investors, the company was worth $12.37 billion in May of this year. It has now dropped to being worth $9.07 billion, losing over $3 billion in 5 months' time, also known as 25% of their total worth. Hasbro reported that sales were down due to increasing price sensitivity for the average consumer. Basically, it means that due to higher prices than last year, people bought less than they did last year. Well, that absolutely makes sense. We're kind of moving into a recession. Even though Hasbro does have the big brands and stuff like that, you can't keep jacking prices up on people. Disney is learning that lesson as we speak.
Yeah, no, Hasbro's been they've been really aggressive with their price increase. And the problem, as far as the way they're perceived by consumers, is they came out and they said that they were going to increase their profitability. They had a record year last year and they're going to increase their profitability this year. And all of a sudden the prices went up. And everybody viewed that as, oh, you're just squeezing us now. You're just squeezing us for more money because you want to go back and tell your shareholders that you made more. Well, look, it's blown up in their face. You can't keep squeezing people for more and more money. They just drop off. They go and they spend their money on other stuff. It's like, I'm buying less Marvel stuff. I'm taking my money and I'm buying Mythic Legions and I'm buying some of the independent stuff that I think has better value for the dollar amount. As much as I love, Marvel, not so much in its current incarnation, but throughout my life. And there's other stuff to spend my money on, even discretionary. And a lot of people don't have a lot of discretionary income right now because of the economic situation we're in.
Well, plus, if you're just offering the same exact characters and the exact same toys with the same functionality, but it's 20% higher now than it was last year, but the other competitors didn't do the same thing, why am I going to continue to support a company that's just hiking the prices up but not giving me a better product in the end?
Yeah, as a retailer, we're ordering much less. We used to order more, of each Marvel wave and things like that. We would order it in higher quantity and we would sell more of it over time. Because it was good to kind of have that in stock continuously. We're not doing that anymore. We're looking to sell out now within the first couple of weeks and then not have it in stock anymore. So we've definitely reduced what we're ordering because of the price increases and because less people are buying. It's like, we're not going to hold on to that product as much. We're going to be leaner with our selections and we're going to put it into other things. It's like I said, we can go and we can order a bunch of Mythic Legions from the Four Horsemen and we can make a much better profit margin on it than we are with Marvel. Yeah, it doesn't come out, it doesn't drop every month, but we can, overall, we'll make more money with that than we will with even these better known brands like Marvel and Star Wars, which, by the way, another reason they're losing money is because Star Wars is dead again. It's just absolutely dead as far as a product line. You get figures from the Book of Boba Fett in, even though it's Boba Fett, even kids aren't buying it. They've just killed the brand.
They can't even sell Grogu. It's his anniversary.
Nope, can't sell Grogu. Got Grogu's just sitting around now.
They should have never named the character. He should still be Baby Yoda. What were they thinking?
That was a stupid name. It's a stupid name. It's like, it feels like, just to get off on the side here, it feels like the writer's room, or what do we call them? Well, I don't know. What do we know about babies? Well, they grow. They say goo-goo. Oh, Grogu, we got it. Boom, off to the races. Yeah, it was much better when people were just calling it Baby Yoda and they were trying to make people call it the child.
With the changes that we're seeing with Marvel right now, where they're moving towards the replacement characters, the mantle swaps for their mainline heroes, like a Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, and all that stuff, is that also affecting the bottom line as far as interest in Marvel characters now that they're starting to swap them out?
It is in the sense of the movie figures. You still get a lot of Iron Man, Spider-Man, your mainline heroes in your regular comic book lines of Marvel Legends and Marvel figures. But when the movie lines are doing progressively worse, it'll be interesting. It's an interesting experiment to see how Wakanda Forever is going to do, because even though they put a couple of Black Panther figures in that line, the male Black Panther,
the real
it's
Black
mostly
Panther?
Yeah, the real Black Panther, T'Challa. They've got the rest of the movie and the rest of the toy line is the female characters. And we've always been told that female characters don't sell well as toys. Female characters don't sell movies very well. So it's going to be an interesting experiment to see how that works out because, so far, not a lot of Okoye or Nakia figures flying off of our shelves, at least. But the Black Panther sells. And then there's some mild interest in the female Black Panther that appears in the trailer. That figure is doing fairly well. But, as for the supporting cast, not really.
You are not the only retailer that's having a problem with inventory, as in they're not able to sell all the stuff that they're being shipped by Hasbro. With people buying less, both Hasbro and retailers are beginning to have quite the inventory surplus issue. As a result, Hasbro says we should expect sales in the future, as in they're going to lower the prices for all the back inventory stuff. Hasbro also mentioned Transformers Earthspark as one of their main hopes to bounce back. It will be a new show premiering in the fourth quarter with a bunch of new toys on shelves, also coinciding with the holiday season. Hopefully, in their minds, this Transformers cartoon does really well and gets people back to buying some, new toys.
Transformers is an evergreen property. It always does pretty good, especially when you go back and you do the G1 characters in new molds, new versions, better versions than people will buy Soundwave a million times. They'll buy Optimus Prime a million times. If you've got a movie out, the movie toys did pretty well amongst kids. Even though, your hardcore Transformers fans didn't really love it, kids were into it. So they sold well there. So Transformers is always a good brand to hang your hat on. The problem is, if you're going to keep increasing prices, you're going to price people out of buying Transformers. You're going to have less kids buying them, and you're going to have less adults willing to buy the 15th Soundwave in a row that they've bought for their collection because it's just too expensive. They're just going to be happy with what they have. Hasbro's greed has tripped them up. They're not going to be doing as well, and they're not going to be able to recover if they don't make some adjustments to their pricing. The problem is they go, petroleum's gone up, so the cost of plastic has gone up, so we're raising our prices. But when we had petroleum really low, when Trump was president and gas was $2 a gallon, thereabouts around the country, their prices didn't come down. It did, they never lower their prices. It's like the prices go up and they see if you're willing to pay it. And then if you're willing to pay it, they keep it there even when their costs come down and they try and break in more profit. It's hit the point where it's at the breaking point. They've reached the threshold of being able to do that.
I can tell you as a dad with a son that loves Transformers, those toys have got me at my breaking point. We got him a Grimlock, very fucking expensive. It was like, we can't get him another Transformer. It's much cheaper to get the Transformers that don't move or anything like that. They're kind of affordable, but my son absolutely hates them. So it's like, what are we going to do here? Hopefully he likes G.I. Joe because they're a lot cheaper.
Yeah, what's the point of a Transformer that doesn't transform, right? Like they tried that with Action Masters.
It's so much cheaper, man. You don't realize how expensive Grimlock is when you got to buy diapers.
Well, the sad thing is that I used to tell parents, because they would come in, they'd be like, "Is there like a simple way to transform these?" Because all he does all day is bring it to me and make it a truck. Now make it a robot. Now make it a truck. Now make it a robot. And I just told him, I said, buy two. Buy two, make one the robot, make one the truck, and then tell him when he wants to transform them, just make the noise and replace it with the other one. That's the only way around it.
Would bring it to me, and I grew up with Transformers. I immediately was like, well, there you go. And then he figures it out, and then he never comes back.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, there's a lot of kids out there that haven't reached that level yet, so they're constantly bothering their parents. So yeah, you can't even afford one, much less two anymore. And no matter how popular Transformers is, it's going to be a matter of pricing, and it's going to be a matter of Hasbro, whether or not they decide to price themselves out of the market. They
do have the big brands, but it does appear that Disney is trying to ruin those brands. The MCU feels like it's tanking just a little bit. Star Wars is pretty much dead across the board. Is there another brand that they can count on, or are they just going to have to weather out the hard times or lower the prices? What can Hasbro do to get people excited about toys again? We are moving into a pretty tough recession right now.
Well, their most successful HasLab recently was the Cobra Hiss tank, and G.I. Joe always sells well, and that's a brand that they own. They don't have to pay licensing fees on, so they can put more things in the,
Maybe
they
should give them good guns now instead of just.
They do. They have. They've gone back to like the traditional guns and the traditional looks of the characters in the classified line, because they realized that's where the money was. So now when you get Stalker, he's got his legit gun from when you were a kid, as well as some other stuff. It's pretty great. But the problem with that line is they're not focused on it. They're not focused on it the way that they are Star Wars and Marvel Legends. There's a new Marvel wave. There's a new Star Wars wave pretty much every month. And like I said, the Star Wars brand is dead. Marvel is oversaturated. And G.I. Joe fans are just begging for things to come out, but there's months in between releases. You know, you'll get like 4 figures, and then you'll wait 3 months to get 4 more. And if they picked up the pace on those, they'd actually like make up some of that money, because the G.I. Joe fans are hardcore. They don't get that much given to them. And there's a lot of rumors as to why. You know, apparently, their previous CEO was rumored to hate the military and hate, you know, like, so he didn't want to do military toys because he didn't want to glorify the military. I don't know if that's true, but it definitely seems like they picked up some production after he passed away, and there was a new guy in charge. But G.I. Joe has saved their company more than once, and maybe it's time to give a real American hero a chance to do it again.
And now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Recently, Aaron and I talked about the HasLab Ghost Rider character that looks pretty damn good, but people said that was far too expensive, $350. This video got Aaron in some hot water. I think he was pretty honest and truthful, stuck to his guns, but people absolutely annihilated him for these takes. Definitely check this out if you want to hate Aaron. If you don't see it here, there's also a link in the video description.